People are kind of coming in as we start, but I just want to start by saying good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's a pleasure to have you all here tonight, and thank you for taking the time to come out. I know the weather forecast wasn't looking great, so thank you not only for those who are here in person with us, but those who are joining us through the live stream as well. Tonight's program, we know that this is an exciting time for seniors, and at the same time, there can be all sorts of other emotions that come along with that. It can be frustrating and stressful as students and families are waiting for decisions to come in. So our goal tonight is going to be to provide everyone with some practical tools and different perspectives that you can use to help seniors and support them through this sort of next stretch in their college journey. But before I hand things over to Katie Gaiman in our office, I want to make sure to extend a sincere thank you to our guests who, as many of you know, this was scheduled to happen last week, and due to the blizzard, we had to reschedule, and they've been so flexible, which I really appreciate, and I'm just so happy that they're here. I had the opportunity to see them present at our national college admissions and college counseling conference in the fall, and thought they were wonderful, and they presented with our very own Katie. So again, I just am so grateful and excited that you all are with us tonight. And I also want to thank Katie Gaiman and Veronica Craven, who's our office manager, who really were the two that sort of did all the behind-the-scenes work to make sure that tonight's program happened, especially after all the juggling we had to do to make sure that the space was available, that everything was going to be able to be moved to a new date. So thank you to Katie and thank you to Veronica for making this program happen tonight. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Katie.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Those of you who are in person, if you're here streaming online, the live stream I heard looks great. We have some folks in our office that are watching from home, so thank you for that report. I have the lucky opportunity to introduce dear friends of mine, two of whom were my work family in a past career before I came to Andover, and one of whom I've known now for about a year. Dr. Melissa Abraham, Amy Selinger, and Lauren Watson are three amazing experts and professionals in this field, and most importantly, have just hearts of gold and really experience with teenagers and adolescents, and are always looking out for their best interests at their core. So I am going to introduce them with some introductions, and then I will turn the program over to them and just be here to advance some slides. Dr. Melissa Abraham is a licensed clinical psychologist with a psychotherapy practice in Concord, Massachusetts. She's on the faculty at Mass General Hospital and Harvard Medical School in Boston. Dr. Abraham completed her doctorate at Northwestern University Medical School and holds a master's degree from the Harvard School of Public Health. She has worked with adults and older adolescents for over 25 years. Amy Selinger is the Senior Associate Director of College Counseling at Lawrence Academy in Groton, Massachusetts, where she also teaches honors U.S. history and coaches lacrosse. She brings nearly 3 decades of experience in college counseling, having spent 20 years at Buckingham Browne and Nichols School in Cambridge, most recently as Director of College Counseling. Amy is also the co-director of Blackberry River Retreat, a professional retreat that trains independent school college counselors. She holds a Master of Education in Administration Planning and Social Policy from the Harvard University Graduate School of Education and a Bachelor of Arts in American Studies with a minor in Women's Studies from Colby College. She is the proud parent of 2 daughters, one a recent college graduate and one currently in college, both of whom successfully navigated the college process largely by ignoring their mother's advice. And then we have Lauren Watson. Lauren has spent more than 20 years helping students and families navigate the college process. Lauren's approach keeps the student at the center, helping teenagers feel confident, capable, and in control, while giving parents the clarity, perspective, and occasional reassurance that this process does not have to take over family life. Lauren began her career in admissions at Boston College and has worked on both sides of the desk at leading schools and universities, including Stewart Hall High School in San Francisco as Director of College Counseling, the Harker School as Associate Director of College Counseling, Boston College as Associate Director of Admission, and Buckingham Brown and Nichols School as Associate Director of College Counseling. She founded Watson College Consulting in 2021 to offer the kind of thoughtful, relationship-based guidance she believes families need most. A Boston College graduate and active member of the National Association for College Admission Counseling, Lauren has spoken at conferences regionally and nationally on essays, AI, and student well-being. She lives outside of Boston with her 3 teenage sons, which means that in addition to professional experience, she brings a daily working knowledge of deadlines, teenage stress, and the fine art of keeping perspective when the stakes feel high. Thank you so much, Amy, Lauren, and Melissa, for being here.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks. You want to advance the first slide? Well, while we're taking a minute to make sure our microphones work, I just want to give you a chance to read this quote that speaks to all of us and just maybe grounds all of us in this moment in time with our students and our children and ourselves in this big moment of transition. And looking at this workshop, this is actually a workshop. This whole idea was Katie's years and years ago at BBNN. And we were really thinking about a way to give parents an opportunity to think through how to prepare themselves for this period of receiving news, managing this beginning of a transition away from us as parents and to their next steps. And so much attention, great attention, is paid to the college process, but we really felt like not a lot of attention was paid to this moment, especially as parents. So we're hoping that you take away a little nugget in terms of helping you prepare for how you might create a space for your child to navigate oftentimes some uncertainty. Even if the news is all good, it still comes with some uncertainty. And also maybe a chance to relax and laugh into this moment that is always a little wild and wacky for everyone. Could I just see a show of hands? How many of you have been through the college process as a parent before? Okay, and so raise your hand for everyone else. How many of you, it's your very first time? Okay, so we have a good mix. I think one of the things I've experienced personally is that even if you've done it before, it's different, right? Even with twins, it's different. And so you have an opportunity to recenter yourself. And certainly if this is your first child, you know it's all new. So we hope you take away a nugget. We hope you laugh. We hope you enjoy.
So we're here because in all of our experience, we understand and acknowledge that there are a fair amount of fears and anxieties that come up, particularly at this point in the cycle of admission. And so just as in any part of life, when you're facing a fear, it's helpful to acknowledge and articulate what some of those fears are. And in our experience, we think it's important to recognize that not only are our students sometimes experiencing some fears, but parents are too. And we thought it would be helpful to kind of identify what some of those are. Excuse me, I need my glasses. So your students might be, the first thing that comes to mind is that students are often worried about disappointing you. They're worried about disappointing their families. They fear the potential rejection experience, some of them for the first time, right? This experience often brings that up for kids for the very first time where they're being told no from something or working towards something that they want. There's anxiety around separating from their family and the sort of changing relationships that are on the horizon. There's uncertainty around their abilities and whether or not they'll be able to be successful in a continued way when they are in a new learning environment. They're looking at changing friendships and moving away from their friends. And then for many students, they're also thinking about the financial burden that their college experience puts on their family. So there's a lot on their minds. For us as parents, we're often, sometimes, if we're being really honest with ourselves, concerned with comparing our child's experience or our own experience parenting them through this with our peers and those around us. There's a sense of helplessness sometimes that can creep in when our student is facing a difficult moment and we can't swoop in to fix it like we did when they were little. There's a sense of wondering if, as a parent, you've done enough, or has your student done enough, right? It's sort of that willful wondering if you had a time machine, if you would go back and do things the same, or if you would do things differently. There's the stress of financing college, of course. And then there's, for you as well as a parent, the stress and the fear around what your relationship with your child will be like as things change and they separate from your family home. And then, of course, we're always worried that our children we're worried about their happiness, right? And so you're sending your child off and launching them, and you worry and might be fearful that they might not be happy in their new environment. And those things are all real. So in the spirit of acknowledging all of those things, Amy and I are going to address our our vulnerabilities, and we're going to show you our acting chops. So we're going to ask that you indulge us in a little skit. I'm going to play a teenager, so suspend disbelief. And Amy is going to be my mom.
And I'm going to draw on my own personal experience as a mother. So picture a kitchen in some home somewhere around here at around this time. And maybe this is recognizable, maybe it's not, but enjoy. Hey, Lauren, listen, I just went to Trader Joe's and I got all that frozen fruit that you wanted. So can you, I'm sorry, we've talked about, I'm sorry, can you please take the hood off? We've talked about this. Yes, when I'm I'm sorry, can you please?
What?
Excuse me.
What, Mom? What do you want?
Hood off, ear things out, AirPods, whatever they're called, put them on the table. What? And I've got the fruit in the car. Remember how we talked about this? It's time to share responsibilities. You got to come help me unload. Come on.
Oh my God! Can you not just do this right now, please,
I'm sorry.
Mom? Jeez.
Right now? Do you have something else going on? It's spring break. Come on, let's go. Fruit.
I don't care about the fruit.
Well, you gave me the fruit for the smoothies and the protein and whatever. So come on, let's go.
You know, I'm not in the mood for your whole vibe right now. Okay.
My vibe? Is that what you said? My vibe is melting fruit. So let's go. Come on.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'm thinking about some other things right now that you clearly are not paying attention to. So I don't care about the fruit.
I'm sorry. That's right. I'm supposed to listen deeply to your other things. So what are the other things that you're thinking about right now?
Oh my God. Well, you know how I applied to Buckingham University?
Of course. I remember.
Well, the decisions came out. So
today? They came out today?
Yes, today.
Did you get something in the mail? I didn't see
No, it's not 1992.
Oh, sorry. Well,
God, Mom. I got an email at school and it said that it would be on my portal and I checked it, okay? So.
Okay, and what happened?
I didn't get in. It's over.
You didn't, I'm sorry. Can I see the portal? Are you sure you read it the right way?
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yes, I am serious.
No, you don't need to see it. Just believe me. It just says no. It just says no. It's over. It's done.
Are you sure?
I did all that work and it doesn't matter. And I have to deal with all my friends and all their questions. And so I don't care about the fruit in the car. Okay?
Fine. I mean, I think, I hate to say it, but I kind of wish that if we could go back in time, I wish we had stuck with the field hockey. I mean, I hate to say that.
Oh my God, I asked you if I could quit field hocky, and you said that was fine because I needed to study for the SATs some more. And now you're saying that you think I should go back? You're telling me I did the wrong thing?
Well, I mean, I really do think that maybe if you had stuck with the field hockey and studied for the SATs, I mean, I hate to say this, we had this conversation.
So this is my fault?
I'm not saying it's your fault.
I'm not saying it's your fault.
You literally just said
Okay.
that if I hadn't quit field hockey and that if I had studied more, that this wouldn't be happening.
Do you know, if
Are you
you had
kidding me
written
right now?
the thank you note to that interview person,
Oh
I
my
think that you could put that
God.
in your file. You know, I've read on Reddit that if you put things in email to the representative, they put it in the file, okay?
Nobody
So,
cares.
You know what?
It's
this is a
over.
learning.
It's
op-
over,
You're
Mom.
right.
It doesn't
it's
matter.
Over.
It's
But
done.
Listen, what we do in these moments is we pick ourselves up and we learn from the moment. And so what we learn is that we continue to do the things that we
Okay,
start.
well, you know what? You can go make a smoothie, but I have
I'm
practice.
not the one
so
that
why don't
wanted
you just-
smoothie.
No.
Oh, you're walking away from me?
Yeah, I'm all done.
Okay, all right. And scene.
So, a little painful, right? To watch a little. Really, your kid has put in years of effort and hard work for this moment where now all of a sudden, initially, you feel really personally judged, inadequate, maybe ashamed. Could be really like the first major defeat that some of your kids are going to be experiencing with a denial. It's painful disappointment. And you hear sort of a lot of comments from mom that, you know, it's just a game here. There's winners, there's losers, must be a loser. It's not fair. The mom really is freaking out, right? That's the real problem here. Basically, your emotions of the mom that are all over the map are saying we do have a real problem here, and there's a lot that we have to fix and think about. Meanwhile, you're sitting here going, I think I've hurt my parent with my feelings. So parents are going to have so many feelings come up in these moments, especially if you're standing right there, you weren't expecting it. It's going to go really fast, and it's really hard to see your child unhappy. You worry, all of this anxiety starts coming up as well. And when we're in this place where there's a lot of vulnerability or fear as a parent, we all tend to have our emotions run really high. We perceive a threat of some kind, and our physiological responses are really good for that, for when there's a real danger, but they're not really always good for parenting. In college admissions, a lot of times parents and students don't have a lot of information to assess that threat, so these emotions run really high, and we have really a lot of difficulty strategizing, problem solving, and things can just go haywire like this. And then you really see at the end just no connection, walking away. What your kids really need from you in this moment is for you to manage that hopelessness, those fears, and the other emotions that are coming up, like really intense passing storm clouds coming through when you open that portal, not to fix anything that you can't really fix. Next slide. So this diagram here is loosely based on a therapeutic model that some of you may have heard of, DBT, dialectical behavior therapy. And I'm just using it to illustrate what can happen for you and your children in these moments. When we perceive a threat like that, we tend to be over here on the right. Things start to go fast, like I said, and if you proceed and act and speak and keep going, whatever urges are telling you to do, you don't always act as you intend to, in line with your true values and your intentions of what you mean to say and do. And this really does have an impact on what gets communicated. You could see that happening, Mom, here. But if you slow down and actually try to tolerate these feelings that are happening to you, strong, hot emotions, they're just happening, then you can start to move over a little, kind of access the left as well, this rational side. On that side, you can think. But if you go too far to the left over here and you're too far in rational, like we got to do this, you could have written the letter, all the rational things, then you're really also ignoring something very important, the emotional side. You're overlooking the feelings, and those are really important signals that you need to pay attention to as well. And then you won't be able to access the empathy that you need to connect with your child. So the bottom line is really you need both of these things. This is the dialectic. They both need to be there at the same time, not one or the other. And that's what we can think of as sort of a wise space.
That wise space, you're recognizing and tolerating these distressing emotions, and you're going to respond to them in a rational way. We'll talk a little bit more about this too as we continue the evening. But if you understand some of this about your brains and your bodies and how this happens, we can start to recognize when you might be in situations like this skit. Let's take a look at a different approach.
Can I have another chance?
One more chance.
All right.
Redeem yourself, Amy.
Redeem myself. I do feel my heart racing in the
Sorry.
channeling something deep. Hey, Lauren, I've got your smoothie fruit in the car. Listen, can you take your hood off when I talk to you, please?
What?
I have your smoothie fruit in the car, Trader Joe's.
Oh, I don't care about that, Mom.
You just told me that you wanted the fruit.
Okay, but right now, I don't care about it, okay?
Okay, right now. All right, I went to that workshop. I know I'm supposed to listen deeply, so what's going on?
Well, I applied to Buckingham University, and I got an email yesterday that my decision would be in my portal, and so I just checked it.
Okay, today?
Yes, just now.
Okay. Okay. What did it say?
I didn't get in. It's over. They said no. So I messed up, and I don't know, everything that I did wasn't enough, and now it's over. And I did everything. I did everything that you told me to do. I did everything that the stupid Instagram people told me to do. I did everything Miss Gaiman told me to do. I worked so hard for so long, and that's it. Now it's just over. It's over. It's just...
You worked really, really hard.
I did.
You really did.
God, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And now it's like... it's like embarrassing. I mean... I can't believe it. I did everything that I was supposed to do.
You really did. I'm so proud of how hard you work.
Well, you have to say that.
Well, I believe it, and it's true. I'm really sorry. I know how much you wanted it.
And now I have to go to school, and people are going to ask me what happened. And I just don't want to deal with it, and I just...
I know. You know, I love you so much.
I probably did something wrong, right? Like, obviously, if I didn't get in, like, there must be something wrong with my application. Like, maybe I should call and see if there's, like, I probably screwed something up, or, like, maybe I should have taken AP Calc.
Listen. We don't have to do anything right now, do we? Is there anything we have to do?
I don't know.
You know what I think we should do tonight? You know, we should get Mario's chicken parm, and we should watch Gilmore Girls. And tomorrow we can reach out to Miss Gaiman and figure that out later, okay? I don't think we need to do anything right now. And I don't know anything about this, but I see how hard you work, and I'm proud of you.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Good job.
So, really different feeling. We'll talk a little further about a couple things that we saw in this skit related to what I was saying before, distress tolerance and emotion regulation. Next slide. So, distress tolerance is really about coping and riding out a storm. That deep breath that you saw Mom take is an example of that. Pausing, enduring those distressing emotions and allowing space for the feelings that she's having. You take the experience seriously, but in stride. Chilling out, right, has a meaning there. This can bring you then to a place where you can act with more intention instead of reacting. That first skit we saw reacting. This was acting with intention, where you're considering the consequences of what you're going to say, so you don't regret what you're going to say. As a parent, you put your own experience, your own worries, all those fears aside for a moment to get to know someone else's. And you're modeling for your child, wow, I can, weather this distress and not do anything about it right away. That pause is so important, not just in college admissions, of course, right? So this takes some practice. There's no way, you just have to develop some skills to tolerate that distress over time, but there are things you can do to start right away. Coping means some physical coping as well. It can be pausing, taking 3 breaths, counting. Another way is observing the emotion you have without judging it. Like, I'm so angry right now at that person who wrote the letter, or whatever it could be. I'm so angry. I'm just feeling that. And naming it, but not judging it. I feel anger. Anything that calms the nervous system down. Pets, exercise, mindfulness, meditation, things like that. Then you're not letting your emotion proceed. The emotion wants you, go, do something. And you're saying, no, I can't think right now. This allows you to make yourself someone who's available in the future to come to when your child is in distress. Someone who will provide some comfort and some rational thinking. Kids do not need you to climb on the roller coaster that they're on or to grab them off the roller coaster and fix it. You feel like doing those things, but that actually can not be what they need, and it's not good for them in the long term too, and it's not effective. They just need you to be their rock while they're whipping around. That's a quote that is in somebody's book. I should have had his name, but that roller coaster thing. So you also don't want to sort of cast aspersions and say, those idiots, that's so terrible, this is all unfair, you've been wronged, we got to fix this. Really, this moment, it's much more important to show how you handle disappointments that happen to everyone in life. Next slide. Now we got this slide. Emotion regulation is taking this a little bit further. Contrary to what people often think, it's not staying calm. You might think, emotion regulation, I'm calm. It's actually about being able to tolerate and manage all those emotions and your behaviors when you're not calm. So even here, Mom, in this last skit, Mom might not be calm at all. She might be really have her thoughts racing about not getting in, but she's managing those emotions. And managing it means you're sort of changing your experience of emotions when you have them. You're influencing them and managing them. One example of how people might do that is to overall in your life increase positive emotional and physical experiences to reduce your vulnerability and having your emotions take over when you get into these hard spots. Another way is talking about things with trusted friends, people with shared experience, and learning to have a voice inside of you that says, oh, well, of course it makes sense that I feel that way. Without acting on it or sharing it, just having that voice come in and say, well, of course I feel that way right now, but it makes sense, but I don't have to do anything about it. I often work with parents to understand how their own life experiences shape those responses, their thoughts, their beliefs, their emotions, what things make them, things go fast for them, and why things make sense to feel, whether you like feeling them or not. You might not like feeling you might not like what you're thinking, but it is there. So distress tolerance is getting through that storm without sinking, tolerating. Emotion regulation is over time, learning how to steer your ship better, get caught in storms less frequently, and then if you are in a storm, being able to handle it more wisely. Now,
I want to, ask the doctor and also ask you all of those things sound wonderful, and I'm taking mental notes that I need to exercise and talk to friends, and, but when you're in that moment with your child, sometimes you don't know what to do. Raise your hand if you've ever had an experience at all in parenting where your child is doing something and you just really have no idea how to react, right? We all feel that way, right? And in that moment, I don't know if you noticed, but the only thing that I did was repeat back to her what she said to me. I literally just rephrased what she said to me, I think twice. And that gave my fast brain a chance to calm down and catch up to where she was. So, that's just a very simple technique of, slowing myself down. And, by creating that quiet space, I didn't have anything to say because I was freaking out, right? It gave you a chance to fill that space with what you needed to say. So even though you probably felt supported, I wasn't really listening. I was trying to figure out what my brain was going to do, right? So sometimes just rephrasing back is enough of a pause, right, doctor?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Great. That's exactly right. Yeah, you paused. And repeating back is a form of like mirroring, which also helps with connection. So.
And I also notice, because I try to do this with my own children sometimes, when I'm in my best parenting, just not all the time. When you were not peppering me with questions, I provided you a lot more information.
Yeah, you sure did. Yeah. Which made my brain spin a little bit more, so I just stayed quiet. So.
Good call.
I think, on the next slide, we'll see our next skit, which we think really highlights a little bit of what we're all experiencing today, that it's great if we have these conversations in the kitchen with fruit melting in the back of the car. But let's be real, a lot of our interactions are often with our children on the phone or on FaceTime. So we're gonna ask that you come with us with one more scenario where we're having a conversation through our phones.
Hold on, it's my mom.
Hi, Lauren. Hi. I'm sorry.
Hi.
Can you put your face in the screen, please? Thank you. Okay. Listen, I know we've talked about this before, but I really, really, really need to call the pediatrician and get you on the calendar. So, I really need you to tell me what your free time is over spring break. It's really hard to get these appointments.
Yep.
So I've asked you to text me that, and now we can't get off this call until you give me a date. So.
Mom, really?
I don't know what to
still
tell
go
you.
to the pediatrician? Are you for real?
There's a PCP crisis. We can't get any doctors. We need to stick with this doctor, and I need the appointment.
So annoying. Oh my God.
You need the form, right? It's like you need the form. What am I going to do, right? We've talked about this.
Fine. Well, you sent me 1,000 texts about this, so
you can answer any one of them. How about that? Free choice. So,
It's wicked funny. That's great.
So can you,
No, I can't, okay? I have a bunch of other stuff going on right now, and I'll do it later.
Is it the bio test?
Yep.
Did you study for the bio test? Did you go meet with the teacher? Remember how we talked about going to meet with the teacher for the bio test thing to
Can
do?
you stop? Can you just maybe stop for a second?
Okay, well, you're not giving me any information, so, what are the things you have going on other than the bio test and
Oh my
finding me a
God, I
date?
studied for the stupid bio test, Mom.
All right,
Jesus.
well,
Okay, listen.
Previous preparation prevents poor performance. That's all I'm saying.
That's great.
Your grandfather said that.
Yeah, that's really great. Well, it didn't prevent anything here, so I know that you are worried about all those other stupid tasks, but do you remember in all your reminders that I applied to Buckingham University?
Yes, I do pay the credit card bill, so I know that. Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. God.
Yeah. So, is that result, I've been checking on this TikTok person I follow is helping me manage those dates. So it's supposed to be coming out today or tomorrow, so you should look on your portal. Do you follow that TikTok person?
No,
I told you to follow the
Just
TikTok
wait for me, and I'll go get food with you guys.
I'm sorry, are you
she's just
talking to
going
me?
off about whatever.
I'm sorry, is that
What?
me? Put your face on the screen, please.
I'm here. What, Mom? Okay.
The TikTok person said that the dates are happening now, so you've got to log into your portal. And you want me to reshare that spreadsheet
No,
I made?
I got an alert that you tried to log into my portal. Okay, so just back off. I logged into my portal, and guess what? I didn't get in, so it doesn't even matter. Okay. It doesn't matter. I got rejected, and I did all that work for nothing, and I don't even want to hear about the biotest and the doctor's appointment and all the other crap.
Wait,
because
I'm sorry.
it doesn't matter anymore.
Did you get waitlisted or?
No, I said I didn't get in.
Are you
That's
sure?
not a wait list. It's a big fat no.
Okay.
It's no, it's over,
Well.
okay? So maybe there's like a Reddit thread for that.
Well, I mean, there goes my donation. I'm done with that school. I'm packing up all of my gear. I'm putting it in a box and I'm burning it in the backyard. Okay? That's ridiculous.
It's a little weird.
You know, we should have asked your Uncle Joey to write that letter. You know, we should have done that. I mean,
Okay,
our
well,
entire
there's
family
probably
has
like
gone to that
1,000
school.
things we should have done, and probably 1,000 things I did wrong. And you know what? Like, it doesn't even matter anymore. And now everybody's blowing up my phone because everybody else got their results too, and I'm getting all these stupid notifications that everybody's posting on TikTok, and they're celebrating and they're happy, and I have to just sit here and listen to you talk about how I should have done it differently. This is not
You're going on TikTok
helpful.
to look at other people posting instead of the TikTok thing I sent you, where it said that if you did the following 3 things, it was going to help you get into the school.
Oh my God! So this is my fault. You're blaming me. You know what? I gotta go. I gotta go to practice.
I'm sorry. You
I'll see
hanging
you
up on
later.
me?
I'm out.
Oh, okay. That's stressful.
Are you okay?
I am.
Yeah, stressful to watch. Right? Well,
Okay.
that's the student feels pretty broken, I would say, by the end of that, right? So we've talked about these pitfalls of trying to fix it first. You're just missing your child. You're missing an opportunity. You're really not gaining much information about anything at all. And you really are losing the chance to strengthen your relationship. In fact, it sort of erodes it when things like this happen, at least. So what I see too in this skit and the other skit is a lot of shame on behalf of in the kid. There's shame, worried about what other people are going to think, being ashamed, maybe even vis-a-vis the parent, but friends. And shame is such a difficult feeling. It can be really intolerable, especially in adolescence. It's the ultimate fear, really, of being alone and distanced from others and just bad inside. So as a parent, if you detect shame, the first thing is connection. Connection's first, the rest later. It's the same idea. Everything else can come later. Your job is to reduce the shame. That's the main thing that should happen. And, you know, that's hard when seeing someone hang up too. You don't know how bad someone's feeling. But, you know, in some cases, it's not that unreasonable to hang up on someone, right? Like, you know, it's just that sometimes a parent often might respond, I can't believe you would hang up on me. That is not okay. Call me back right now. And if you follow with that, it's just going to intensify things even more, as if there's sort of a golden rule, no hanging up on parents. Well, you know, it was really difficult to be on that call. So what you might be able to say, for example, instead is, you know, send a text back, hey, you know, maybe that was too much. Right now, I'm really sorry about the tough news. Call me back when you're ready. Or, you know, later on being able to say, I've been thinking about our conversation, and I think that must have been really hard when I got all upset and kept talking at you. I would do things differently next time. I realized I probably made it even more stressful when I said those things. That goes a lot further than a simple apology, especially one when it's like, oh, I said I'm sorry, which is not really an apology, right? So that really fosters the connection if you can say those things and say, yeah, I kind of get why you hung up on me, right? It's a really different approach. But, you know, if you really do have some reason for concern, if your kid hangs up on you, that your child's really in distress and you're far away, if you're not in the same place, the school does have people that you can reach out to. And Karina's just going to say a word about that.
Yes, so we know we have a pretty large boarding population. Let me come up here for those who are online. And so many of you, well, and even if you have a day student, right, they're always busy and you may be having conversations with them, but especially if you have a boarder, and I know that can be really hard because you can't, you know, they're not going to be coming home for you to have that follow-up conversation. So if you have concerns, and I as a former house counselor have gotten these calls from parents to say, you know, my child called me, they were really upset, and I'm just really worried they hung up and they won't pick up the phone. So call the student's point person, call the house counselor. If they're a day student, call their day student advisor. There are plenty of folks on campus who you can reach out to. And sometimes, during the day, folks are teaching, right? They're in the classroom. They may not be able to call you right back. You can always call the Psychs Wellness Center as well, and just let them know that you have some concerns and they can have someone follow up. So again, I've gotten these calls from parents, and when I am able to, I will go track them down in the dorm or figure out where they are, email the group to say, hey, has anyone seen Karina? Yep, she's in Commons. All right, let me go take a little walk down to Commons. So, your student has a full team here on campus to take care of them. So never worry alone. Reach out to adult on campus and we can follow up with them as soon as we can.
Great. Can we get up to the next slide? Okay. So I do think, we just want to acknowledge before we get one more redo for our final skit that there is power in the pause, even through the phone. It's very difficult. Maybe you can think about a time you've had a conversation with your child where it's exceptionally difficult. You can't dive through that screen and get to them, right? And there is that distance and they have the ability to end the call. But the power of the pause, deep listening, even on the phone, really can help reframe the experience. And we do hope after tonight you'll sort of mindfully attempt this with anyone. You can practice with, we went to Whole Foods, you can actually practice in Whole Foods and see if you can take a pause and have a deep listening moment before you see your child next. And recognize that there are lots of things that come to the table and actually help combat some of the things that Melissa was talking about, especially from the perspective of shame, because that can be such a powerful and destructive feeling for both the parent and the child. And just by saying nothing, even on the phone where it feels even more tempting to fill that space, being silent on the phone feels even stranger than being silent next to someone, but it really does create this opportunity for feelings to be felt, for that moment to sort of be de-escalated, and for shame not to enter the building. Anything else before we try it one more time?
No.
All right. See if I can finally get that right.
Hold on, it's my mom.
Hi, Lauren. I've texted you, and I really, really have to make that doctor's appointment. Okay, I'm wondering if you could give me those dates. I've got a pen right here, and I can just I can call them back tomorrow.
Seriously?
I mean, yes, seriously. Yep.
Mom, you sent me like 2,700 text messages about this. Can you just lay off?
It's just the one thing. That's all I'm asking. Just give me a date for spring break.
It's not, though. It's not just one thing. It's always like 100 million things, but whatever.
Okay.
Yep. What do you want to know?
What date over spring break you're free for the doctor appointment?
I don't know. Like the 12th is probably fine. But
Okay,
Mom, I don't really want to talk about this right now. Can we please just not do this right now? There's other things happening, and
What's going on?
Well, I know you have 5,000 reminders for everything, and today was the day that my admissions result was posted on the Buckingham portal. Mm-hmm. So I'm not having a great afternoon, and I don't care about the doctor's appointment, okay?
Mm. Were you able to get into the portal?
Yeah, I did. And
What did it say?
it's stupid. It says I'm on the wait list. Like, after all that time, they still didn't make a decision? Like, God. Mm-hmm. So, whatever. I probably screwed something up, and it doesn't matter that I did all that work and I wrote all those stupid essays and I did everything Miss Gaiman told me to do, and it was all just, I don't know, I guess. And it's not going to work out anyway, so I just, like...
You say it's not going to work out? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, nobody gets in off the wait list. It's like a joke. It's like embarrassing.
It's
What does that even
embarrassing.
mean?
I don't understand. Can you say a little more about embarrassing? This is private portal, right?
Yeah, but like everybody knows where I applied. Everybody's posting about where they got in. It's obvious. It's embarrassing.
That's really
I
hard.
like low-key don't want to even leave my room.
You
So-
low-key don't want to leave your room. Yeah.
Are you making fun of me?
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. I'm really sorry, honey. I know you worked really hard.
I did,
You really did.
right? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Like, I don't even know what happens next.
You know,
Like, should I do something? Do you think I should do something? Should I call somebody? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answer. I'm sure Miss Gaiman does, but you know what I'm just really thinking, and hear me out here, it's almost time for basketball practice, right? You know, you love
Yeah,
it.
but can I just not go? I just don't. They're
don't
going
think
to
that's
ask
a good
me, and
idea.
like, I'm in a bad mood, and I just please, I just don't want to go.
I know, but you feel better when you play, and you just leave it all behind when you step on that court, right? Isn't that your team rule? Leave it all behind, and you just get out there.
I guess.
You know, I'm really glad we're coming to see you this weekend.
Yeah, me
And I'm
too.
sure Miss Gaiman will tell you exactly what you need to do. I don't think you have to do any of that tonight. So why don't we?
fine,
Why don't we do this? Why don't you go to basketball practice, and then we can check in later, and then we'll make a reservation at your favorite restaurant this weekend, and we'll just.
Okay,
deal
I'm
with
glad you're
what-
coming. This really sucks.
It does.
And fine, I'll go to practice, but we just don't fall asleep, okay? I'll call you
No,
before
I'm
I go
here.
to
I
bed.
will be here. I'll turn my ringer on. I know how to do that. So,
Okay,
all right. Love you, hon.
all right, love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
So just noting really that you can see this was that wise space, that wise path. There was a lot of validation. There was emotions were not running high. They were really moved to a space where you could think better, wise space by bringing it down. Kind of some thoughts, Kate, that, you know, Miss Gaiman will know, but you know, that, not really a lot of problem solving, you know, other than that, a couple things there. You were emotionally regulated, right?
But what I did have, I don't know if you noticed, I had notes, and that's where all my emotional dysregulation went, right? So I have a nice long list for you, Miss Gaiman, of questions about what to do next, but it felt like I could do that
Yeah,
without you noticing
yeah, that's true.
and deposit all of that energy on my paper.
Yeah, because you were still wondering, what does this mean? You also didn't correct her when she said, no one gets off a wait list. That wasn't the time needed to, it's false, but you didn't need to correct her right then and say that. You said, you know, you're mostly saying, this is terrible, and I'm sorry, it's really hard to feel this way, but I'll be here for you, and I can comfort you, and you know, when things get difficult or scary when you're in college or the next time, I'll be here too. Next slide. So a lot of times when I work with parents, they start to feel their own shame when we talk about things like this, because it sure looks easy just describing some different ways of doing it. You might look through this lens of connection and emotion regulation sort of for the first time and say, well, what if it's too late? I never did it that way, or now it's too late. But it's never, ever, ever too late to layer on new experiences in your relationship with your child where you're grounded instead of reactive. You're showing that you're amid all these feelings and thoughts and urges, but you're not letting them overwhelm you. You're able to put your experience aside for a moment to get to see and know your child's experience. And it's not too late to do that. One time, that repair is extremely powerful. Instead, what instead of trying to sort of convince your child of something, for example, no, people do get off wait lists, and going down a rabbit hole of that, what you're saying, if you try to start convincing, is that there's only one right reality to have right now. And then the other person feels like, well, you're not really seeing my reality. My reality right now is that no one gets off wait lists. And that intensifies the feelings if you get into that debate. And they feel like you don't accept their reality, and that makes connection impossible as well in that moment. Instead, you're saying your experience is real. I don't necessarily have to believe it or have to convince you away from it right now, but we're just going to permit those feelings and not let them change anything or color our decision-making at this time. With these skits, what we're really seeing is changing the ending, literally in a skit, right? Changing the ending. It's something that psychologist Becky Kennedy talks about a lot in parenting, lessening the shame and repairing. So you can also set the stage before decisions come out, where you don't have to wait. You know there's no magic words now to make them not be upset or solve anything, but you can change their experience of the feelings and acknowledge their reality too. If you have a calm and compassionate pre-response, you might preempt some of this shame. Hey, whatever the news is, I know when the portals come, it's hard to open those. Whatever the news is, you've done so much in this process. We're so proud of you. Whatever happens, no matter what, even if you don't get in. And you're letting them borrow some of your being real about it all and sharing the emotional burden with them. And that sets the stage as well for college. Someone will be there for me when things go wrong there too. You don't have to wait until then. So setting the stage is important too. Next slide.
So, as with everything in parenting, if you're anything like me, I often just wish someone would tell me what to say. So we're going to offer this to you right now. So we put this list together as an offering for you to have a tool in your back pocket. And so some of the things you might be able to say are really simple one-liners, right? Like, you seem really disappointed. Just let it sit there. It makes sense that you feel that way. Yeah. What part feels the hardest right now? We have time. There's no rush. Just creating a whole lot of space in the conversation, right? Yeah, I get it. This really stinks. Just the vastness of those statements creates all this space for your teenager to start talking or not.
So I want to add a few more comments about mental health in general, looking at our relationship with our young adult children as parents. There's been a lot of books written about college admissions and parenting. Of course, they're written by psychologists, educators, Madeline Levine, Lisa D'Amore. There's tons of them out there. Jeffrey Salingo just wrote one. There's lots of books out there. Basically, they all have the same plea for prioritizing connection and empathy and for fighting myths about college admissions and about success and happiness in life. And they all refer to how crucial these things are to mental health. I worked with college students in Boston for over 25 years, and now looking back over the fence of college admissions to remind parents that life does continue on the other side, life in college and beyond. It's abundantly clear that getting into any particular school does not guarantee anyone good mental health. Belonging and having a good fit is more correlated with well-being and future success. And college first years can often be very scared that by struggling, not performing anymore at the tippity top in their new environments, that their parents are going to be disappointed, angry, or feel it's been a waste of time and money, and it makes it very hard to share with parents, even under the best of circumstances, what you might be going through if you start to struggle. They worry their parents will no longer hold them in sort of positive regard, and that's also painful, no matter how old. And parents, too, might worry when you see, is my child going to suffer? They might worry about their future, see them at risk for harm or substance abuse, and they also can be scared and angry, and again, big feelings can come up. But if you start to learn how to think about this, to respond to difficult situations like admissions decisions, you can start to alleviate that to some extent. You can still have high expectations, but even higher support, expressing your belief in them, and that will help them to be able to ask for help and support when they need it. There was an essay that just came out, I saw, written by a college student at Johns Hopkins about how he said, "Dad, I need a pep talk." That was sort of the heart of the essay, and that really speaks to this, just being able to reach out to a parent, "I need a pep talk," or whatever it is. That's, I thought that was exactly what we all want. Regardless of what you have or haven't done in this past year or through this admissions process, you have a flashpoint right now when your child gets this decision to use that lens of connection and mental well-being to respond, like we've been talking about. You can inoculate your relationship, I like to think of it that way, for the future faltering and disappointments that your child is probably going to experience at some point. Next slide. And finally, one more quick note, which is that we didn't have acceptance in the title, but it's also a moment to think about a bit, a flashpoint to respond thoughtfully in a way that doesn't harness your child's success to their worth as a human. Anxiety can spike in college students, like I mentioned, especially later on. Some who are accepted say, "I don't know how I got here." Time before people find out, I'm an imposter, I can't do the work, or I don't want to do the work anymore. I'm so tired from everything I did in high school and how that pace was. I don't want to do that anymore. A lot of things can happen. So acceptance can still lead to kind of sometimes, not always, but some forms of anxiety for kids too. And one thing you can think about is celebration versus praise. So celebration is wonderful, but if you praise someone, "Oh my gosh, you're a genius and you're just so exceptional," sometimes you're, "Oh, you did this or that," you're tying the value of someone as a person, you're measuring it on very narrow measures of performance. And it can create a lot of pressure not to disappoint or live up to the label or focus on external approval of other things. So celebrate for sure, but praise or other things like kind of can get in the way and just create anxiety. So think about that a bit. And if you need more help or want more space and time to think about all of these practices, you might think about how you could find that in different ways. And it's not just about college admissions, right?
So just in conclusion, thinking about this moment in time for you as a parent to identify your true north, you pull out your family's internal compass and you put your values as a family at the center of everything you do. And certainly this moment is one of those times. And, a decision from a college is not a referendum on your parenting, whether your child's accepted or not. It is a flashpoint, a moment to step in as a parent, but it doesn't either confirm or refute good parenting. And remembering that your values, whatever they are really the guide through this time period and beyond. We really do believe that this can be this great platform for connection, and also just acknowledging that it's a moment of transition for all of you as parents. Because frankly, if we're successful as parents, we work ourselves out of a job, right? And when they go off to college, our relationships change. Maybe this is going to put you in a place where you're an empty nester, and that's a big change for you as an adult. Watching, your role in their lives shift, but instead seeing this moment as a gift to lay the foundation for what will be a more adult relationship with that family compass at the center, and prioritizing that relationship really does create an opportunity that maybe it doesn't seem like would exist when kids are opening portals and buying sweatshirts and posting on Instagram. But it really is this really important gift of a moment. You have anything you want to add for that?
I'm just thinking about how I often will encourage parents to everything that has been said, but specifically what Melissa was just saying about setting the stage for results to come out, and reassuring your child in advance that their admissions outcomes are not in fact harnessed to their mattering, in the words of her name, Jennifer Brenny Wallace. I often will encourage families, and I know all of us have done this at certain points, to write your child a letter before their results come out. And there's something about handing it to them in hard copy. I've had many students tell me that their parents have done this and they keep the letters forever. So if you're able to do that for your child and let them hear those things and hold on to it physically before their outcomes are released, that can be a really powerful exercise. So. And if you're listening to us, you are probably doing a wonderful job, and right?
I think we're going to open it up for some questions for our lovely panelists, and just thanks for being an attentive audience. I know we can all hear each other, but in order to appear on the live stream, maybe we'll just pass a mic around for anybody that might have questions for the group.
Acting tips are welcome as well.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to touch on something you said early, which really hit a nerve with me, which was when you said, oh, I read on Reddit, right? And there's so much out there. Yeah. And part of you wants to read it all because it's such a different process. Like how you mentioned, it's not 1992, Mom. It's such a different process from when I was applying. And there's so much information, and some of it's conflicting, but how would you suggest to balance all of that, where you want to stay informed and you want to know how this whole process works now, and versus being so overwhelmed with conflicting information and just the pressure of, oh, it said to do these 3 things, I did those 3 things.
It's really, really hard because there is so much information out there in so many different easily consumed forms. And, even if you're sort of standing on the soccer sideline, you might talk to somebody who says, oh, well, we did this. Oh, you didn't do that? Oh, we did this, right? And the sort of, because it's so not transparent to us as parents, it's very, very tempting to just go out and grab anything that looks like information, as possible. I give people 3 pieces of advice, right? Number 1, do your best to stay off social media. Just put it away for now. Number 2, find a friend of yours that has had a child go through the college process a number of years ago. Now, they're not going to give you advice that's, detailed like that false Reddit post might be, but what they're going to do is help you reframe the fact that they can't really even remember the college process, and it's all going to be okay. So it kind of gives you that nice perspective. And sometimes if you're talking to somebody who's going through it at the same time, you're going to feed off of one another. Say, well, I read this post and I'm following this person on TikTok. And a lot of the things I said were actually drawn from conversations I've had with folks, so that's real. Yeah. And then the third thing is, I've known so many of the folks here for so long. You have an incredible resource. I would say at any point, if you ever have a question, email your child's college counselor, because we have had the benefit of doing this for so long, and we've sifted through the myths. There's no reason why you have to do that yourself. So no social media, an old friend, and reach out to the college counselor. Do you want to add anything? I mean, as a parent, you went through this?
No.
Oh.
I would say amen and hallelujah.
As a parent, you experienced
I
this a
guess
little?
I would just emphasize that's very true, that there's no one can have, that's kind of what I was saying before, no one can really have all the information, and with all the conflicting information, the first time around in particular, the fear response is higher because you just don't know, like what the stakes feel high, and you don't know, I don't know if I have the right information. So it kind of comes back to that regulation too, and looking for very trusted resources, you know.
I think too that a motivating force in trying to follow Amy's advice, right, which is difficult, is to remember that you need to be your child's horizon line. So your ability to stay grounded in what's real and what is true and what is guided by your school is, you can do that in service to your child's experience, right? If they see you sort of following the wind and being influenced in your behavior and your suggestions to them based on what other people are suggesting to you, that will most likely make your child feel unsteady, right? I always talk about how I want parents to try to be like a really dutiful flight attendant during turbulence, right? If you are the flight attendant and there's turbulence and the flight attendant goes and sits down and clenches, you get real scared, right? But if the flight attendant smiles at you and offers you a Sprite and just keeps passing the peanuts, I feel more at ease as a passenger, right? I'm your child. So if you can do whatever, I just mixed a bunch of metaphors, but we're talking about being steady for your child, right? And so if you can try to remember that as your goal, it might make it a little bit easier to not fall down the rabbit's hole late at night reading Reddit or what have you.
Thank you.
And I think I would just echo what they said about connecting with your child's college counselor. I have this conversation with students all the time where I always offer them, like, how can it sounds like things are stressful at home. What would be helpful for me to do on your behalf, right? And oftentimes they're like, can you talk to my parents? And I tell families, like, don't worry about, you might think I'm just pestering, my child's counselor, but we would rather, like, you reach out, ask your questions so that we can, help clarify the myths, and then you can be more calm with your child. So our students live very busy lives, and so sometimes too they're like, oh, like they keep calling me and they want to know about this or that. I'm like, okay, just tell them to email me and I'll have the phone call and I'll explain how that works, right? So definitely use us as a resource. That's what we're here for.
I want to say one more thing. I know we have another question. I want to say one more thing about TikTok, because I do think that the students are also impacted by this. I had a student a number of years ago who was a very serious student, thorough, intentional, engaged, and then all of a sudden was taking very bad advice from someone on TikTok. And the poor parent was apoplectic, could not understand why this child's whole process, he really wanted to have a particular plan, which wasn't a great plan because he saw it on TikTok. So I brought him in and I said, well, let's look at what this person's background is. And he said, well, he does everything about college. It's all, I said, well, let's see. And the person was a bodybuilder, right? And so when we highlighted that, and I said, okay, so you can listen to the bodybuilder, or you can listen to the person who's been doing this for 30 years. It's completely your choice. And we had a great laugh, and so it is powerful, the social media piece, and our students are experiencing that too. So sometimes finding ways to use humor, and also, instead of, if I just said to him, what are you doing? You can't make that decision. Instead of, let's look into this more. Let's look at these TikToks together and see what we can see. It really sort of de-escalated, and he sort of woke up and realized, oh, maybe I can follow him for weightlifting advice, but maybe not college advice.
It's another example of approaching, if you just try to convince someone,
right,
it doesn't work. But if you try to engage and have that conversation, maybe look at some data as well.
Right.
It's different.
Thank you for the wonderful, very engaging session. Actually, the skit part made me very much connected with the situation and able to comprehend well rather than talking, right?
Good.
So I have one question which is two-part. Sometimes somebody reacts, we can handle it. But sometimes they're very silent, not reacting. Like, I don't know whether I'm associating wrongly, mostly boys. I don't know if it's a gender issue, but sometimes boys don't react. Silence. No, for any question, no response. How to break that silence and getting into them, saying, hey, I'm with you, right? I always struggle for that. The second part of the question is, emotions are same, but culture differs. In every culture reacts differently for every emotions. Disappointment, rejection, distress, it comes in the human mind, but cultures handle differently. So I'm from a different culture. Asian handle differently. Western society handles differently. So what's your suggestion how to normalize that such a way that regardless of what background we are coming from, we can handle that kind of situations better?
I can speak to the gender piece, maybe. So I have 3 teenage sons, and I worked at 2 schools for boys as a college counselor, and I'm very, very slow to make gender-based statements or assumptions. So I just want to acknowledge that right away. And I have noticed, both in my own experience as a parent in my home and in my work, that I've noticed the same thing, that sometimes students are very unwilling to emote or to articulate a fear or a concern. And the thing that I rely on the most, that I go back to, is something that has been written about and talked about, and I apologize, I don't know who to credit this concept to, but it's this term that I have taken to called houseplant parenting, right? Where my boys and any sort of student who's been slower to open up seems to be positively impacted by just knowing that I'm in the room, that there is not an expectation on them or of me to engage. Sometimes just being there, and I saw it sometimes in my students, they would just want to come and be in the space. And eventually, there's an opening. But the presence is really sometimes all you can offer. And that's really hard, and sometimes it's very scary to not be able to dive in. But I have found that can be a really effective thing to just, and sometimes I just say it to a student or to my son and say, I'm not going to ask you anything, but do you mind if I'm just going to bring my laptop and be here? Is that okay? They never say no.
I'm going to say one thing about that, and then maybe you can start the cultural answer, right? So I think, when we've talked about, obviously we've done this several times, and we actually talked about, a silent teenager is pretty common, right? It makes a really bad skit, though, right? So I think that houseplant parenting is wonderful, and I also hope that you noticed in the first to second skit, not on the phone, the percentage of words that I spoke were drastically reduced, right? And silence is a tool for you and for your child. And we can communicate with our bodies without saying a word. And I think by sitting still and being quiet, if you're like this, right, you're communicating something different than if you're like this, right? And so being present in the kitchen or whatever, and being comfortable with that silence also sends the signal that, hey, you're processing and I'm here for whatever. I also want to highlight 2 places that are wonderful places to talk to any teenager. You know what I'm going to say?
I do.
Car rides and campfires, right? I don't know if you can make a campfire anywhere on this campus, but the reason for that is all teenagers don't really want people like this, right? They don't want you staring at them. So cooking together is another great example. So again, when you talk about sort of laying the groundwork, you intentionally find these moments and say, hey, listen, I got to go to Home Depot, get in the car with me. And I could say, both as a parent and as somebody who drives vans of kids, when nobody's looking at anyone, you'd just be surprised at how much they talk. And by communicating openness with your body language and silence, you're creating space. Do you want to say something about the
Well, and
second?
I also think that there is no magic tool for prying anyone, right? That's one of that can be very, very disconcerting if you have concerns, but there is no magic tool for that. It comes back to that same connection, And I think, and so I agree with everything that's said here, and I think it really ties into your other question. It's probably a complicated way to answer. I'm sure lots of people might answer it differently too, but when you're asking the question, what I'm picturing and what I've seen when I work with parents from a lot of immigrant parents who have different school systems too, different expectations. It's hard to map on the American system to pretty much any other system. But when parents come, at least when they're coming to me, there's some form of distress. There's some worry about their child or about them, or there's some conflict happening between the child and the parent. And there's a lot of fighting, similar to what we've seen in the skit. So being able to look at your own particular skit somehow, if it's sort of over and over, happening over and over, being able to describe and observe the skit that's happening in your own home, it could be with a professional, it could be with a friend, it could be in some way, but just slow down and look at that skit that's happening. That's something that I talk to people about, yes, you have values that you can bring and no one can tell you which values are right. But if you don't have any intention in exerting those values and sharing those values in your family, and you're just forcing values, I don't care what your culture is, it doesn't go very well. So there's discussion, and sometimes kids can hear, I see why you have those values and why you're seeing it this way. Here's what I'm seeing. And that's a different skit. Then you're doing it wrong. You have to do it this way, convincing or prying or all the things. So I don't know if that answers your question fully. It's not very specific, but I do think like it's your own particular individual skit that happens.
I'd just add one comment. We have when we've been working with uppers right now and 11th graders, and my colleagues and I have all been meeting with amazing students here. And one of the things we ask all students is to tell us the trusted adults that they rely on this campus. And not one of my 35 kids has had 0 trusted adults. Most of them have 3, 4, 5 people they can name right off the bat, like very quickly and easily. And it's funny because a lot of students will jump right away to like, oh, do you mean people that can write my letter of recommendation? And we're like, nope. Just tell me about somebody who sees you, who knows you, maybe from 9th grade or maybe from 11th grade or this year. And then it strikes this amazing conversation and we keep track of who they say. And so if you feel, right, like you're alone with a silent teenager and you're not getting anywhere with them, you have this network of people here on campus who they are talking to. And they're talking to us. And if they're not talking to us as counselors, they are absolutely talking to house counselors who are, oftentimes baking cookies. They are emoting on the athletic field or in the dance studio, and they are connected. So those stories about the folks on campus here who see the kids in between moments are some of my favorite conversations. And you should feel very enfranchised to reach out to us or to those point people to kind of get a fuller picture of what your student might look like in those moments.
Other questions?
I think, Katie, if you go forward a couple slides, there's some of them.
Oh, yeah.
One more.
Oh, yes.
One
Quick
more.
contact if you need us.
In the books, if you want to. Yeah.
So we thought we'd share, earlier I mentioned you might get that phone call, that FaceTime call where a student hangs up, or you're just generally worried about your student. So we wanted to make sure that you all had these resources. So hopefully you know about our Psychs Wellness Center. It's such a great resource for students. If a student ever needs to make an appointment, they can go in Monday through Friday. and make an appointment. So they can either walk in, they can email, or they can call. Students can also connect with You Will. So sometimes, there's a little hesitation to go to psychs, and they might, or they might be at home and want to do something through telehealth. So You Will is a resource that all of our students have access to, and they get up to 8 sessions with a therapist there, and it's at no cost to the family. So if you have questions about that, you can contact psychs to get your student connected. And just at any point, you can, as Katie just said, reach out to a point person or trusted adult on campus. Sometimes students are a little hesitant to go because our students are overachievers and they don't want to admit that they're struggling and having a hard time. And I've many times have just said, you know what, why don't we just walk over and you can see what it's like and you can connect with someone. And sometimes it takes that, right? Like an adult on campus saying, let's walk over to psychs and have you make an appointment and kind of give them that little nudge to get there. I also wanted to share that our office is going to be available. The first week, we always reserve it for seniors because we know that after spring break, they're going to have lots of news to share and have lots of questions. So we don't book others, like our uppers won't be able to book appointments that week. So we'll be mostly open for seniors, and our office will remain open in the evenings. And students will get more information about this when they come back so they know what times will be available. But if they want to drop by in the evenings, knowing that they have class and they're really busy during the day, that will all happen the first week. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for them to connect with us if they're feeling, whatever they're feeling. If they want to come in and celebrate, because sometimes that's also a problem. They kind of feel that everyone else in the dorm or in their other spaces that they're around is not feeling great about their decisions, and they're feeling guilty that they're feeling super excited and happy and can't, feel like there's no place for them to celebrate. And we say, come to the college counseling office, we will help you celebrate. So again, they're coming to see us for a variety of reasons, but wanted to make sure that everybody had the resources here on campus. And then, there aren't any other questions. We also wanted to invite you, both if you're at home watching through the live stream or in the audience, to share some words of encouragement or support for the class of 2026. We're going to be meeting with them as a class and a group when we get back from spring break in early April. And so we'd love to be able to put some of your quotes up on the screen. So if you would mind using the UR code to just jot down a little anonymous message there. We'd appreciate it. And I'd like to just thank our wonderful guests. That was amazing. Again, I've already seen you guys, and I was like, oh my gosh, I still learned so much tonight. So could we give them, please, another round of applause? So thank you. And we will... I will hang out here for a little bit if anyone has questions. But again, thank you so much for coming out tonight and for asking questions. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have any concerns about your students.
Thank you all very much.